Hello everyone, this is Russ with Polish Iron Grips. I've been getting a lot of requests for the update on the version 07BT, and I think I got something to show you today. This is going to be a rigid, I think a rigid only grip. I don't think I'll offer it in rubber, as I've had a few complaints, different sheeting styles. People are having trouble with compressing that rubber too much, and it interrupts the trigger bar. So this is going to be strictly a rigid grip, and you'll see that I've changed the geometry quite a bit, and it's actually quite nice. And I think in fact I know this is my most comfortable grip to date. And probably all future grips will be based off of this basic geometry. So there's a few things going on. Let me get it mounted here. You see I have the EMR, the extended mag release, installed on this pistol. And the installation is pretty straightforward. You know, in previous videos we talked about all this locking geometry in here. And this is all identical to the OEM geometry internally, except I added this extra land right here. You can see that right here. Keep an eye on my screen. That engages around the lower part of the frame, and makes a nice little lead in for the into the mag well as well. Little tapered lead there. And so the installation is pretty straightforward. Line it up on here. Make sure that we have the. You can see this, the frame entering the slot, and you just slide that sucker on. Slide it all the way on. There's no gaps around here. It's a nice tight fit. Drop our screw in. And you gotta wonder sometimes, man, if you drop it in, this thing's gotta be, and it slid together that easy, is it gonna be a tight fit, tight grip? Well, I wouldn't show it to you if it wasn't a tight grip. I said before that I go to a little extra effort to make sure that the grip is tight, doesn't move around at all, no click click, no squeaking, no nothing going on even after firing. And drop a mag in, simple as that. Release, simple as that. No issues at all so far with this. And again, I said this, I believe, is the most comfortable grip I did. You can see what I did here on the butt. Pooched that guy out about 0.2 of an inch, or 200 thousandths for you machinists out there. And so it's got quite a bit of a deeper grip to it compared to my other ones. Used to be about that wide back there. So what it does is it allows you to stretch your hand out. For those of you with medium to larger hands, I think you're really going to like this. I think people with smaller hands will like it too. So I got a real nice deep cut here to fit the web of your hand, and it's just really nice and comfortable. Now the most important part, I think the coolest part of this, is right here in the front. See how I push this geometry all the way to the edge of the frame, and it's a beautiful smooth transition right here. And go ahead and grab your pistol with an OEM grip or maybe one of my other rigid grips, and you'll still get the sharp feel of that frame, especially when you shoot. You know, so one by one I go through this pistol, and you know, after I solve one little problem with the way it feels when I'm shooting, I find another one. And there's one last one that I probably won't be able to do anything about, and that's underneath the trigger guard here. And that can be bothersome after a while. But it's really bothersome, the sharp edge on here, because the geometry on the grips was back farther, about 100 thousandths of an inch, a little more, up to 1/8 of an inch behind it, and you really felt that steel on the inside of your hands after you're shooting for a while. And the width on this thing is 1.1 inches, a little bit more, you know, so it's right in keeping with the same width as the OEM grip, except of course I taper mine back. It's more discreet for carry. It's not pooched out and fat in the back. And it's just a very nice feel to it, and of course it operates just nice and slick. Okay, I went ahead and shipped out a few of these pre-production parts. I got some issues here with checkering. I'm not even sure I like this pattern, and so I need to clean all this stuff up. And but I got some out there for evaluation outside of my normal team. So they're going to take a look at it. I like the way it feels when shooting. Again, you know, very comfortable to carry. And even though it's a little deeper, I don't know, I still don't have a problem with carrying. We didn't talk much about it. I'll do a little bit, do another video on carrying sometime. And this is the holster that I use daily. And it's a slider holster. And that's the fit on it. Got a real deep purchase in here. I've run around and tumbled around the backyard a couple times, or more than a couple times, because I want to make sure this thing isn't going to jump out in any circumstances, and it doesn't. What I like about this slider holster is I can adjust its position on the fly, the way it's carrying on my side. So if I had my one belt loop that's on my right side, about this position where my finger is, and the pistol is positioned right here, well, this thing's riding behind my hip, behind my right hip, and the grip is almost parallel to my back. So if I'm walking and I want my arms by my side without hitting the gun, I can just slide it around the back. Now, if I'm in the car or I just want the gun closer to a better shooting position or to get to, I just slide it forward, and it rides just forward of my hip. Very nice, comfortable position to get to, and that's more times than not, that's where I carry it, is forward of my hip. But if I'm walking around, it's uncomfortable, depending what shirt I'm wearing. You know, I'll shift it back here so it's behind my back, and it's just real nice to carry. It's discreet, and we'll talk more about those later and get some live shots of how it actually works on my body. But that's it. That's a version 7. Give me a little bit of time, get these things out, and my website is still to be published. And as soon as I hit that publish button, I get some better pictures of this, throw these up there, and I probably won't put any pricing on it yet. But removal, just as easy as putting it on. Just give a little push right here, and that's it. Sometimes guys make a mistake of if it sticks a little, well, they want to grab it real hard and start jerking on it. Well, when you grab it hard and you pinch it, that just makes it want to stick more. So you just need to just give it a little shove here. The trigger bar, you might guess, would be in the way. Well, I put a ramp inside here, so it's kind of hard to see that, but I ramped it up and over it, so you might feel it pooch out and snap behind it a little bit. But getting on and off, again, do it from my perspective. That's how I do it. Put your screw in. That's how you take it off. And again, very nice, tight fit. It just does not move and still comes on and off that easy. And this polymer, 65 durometer, it's very tough stuff, very tough stuff. I'll give you a hammer test demonstration with this sometime in the future. But takes impact really nice, and not all polymers do that. Not all these materials I work with do that. Some of them will actually shatter in your hand. So I'm very careful to supply you with a type of material that won't do that. Again, I probably won't offer this in rubber. Here's the preliminary part before I even checkered it, and this one is actually rubber. But again, you can see if because of this thin section in here, where there's a cutout for the trigger bar, that's real flexible. I shot this thing with this grip, I don't know, almost a box of rounds, and I just don't have a problem with it. Resets the trigger every time. Again, that's because the way I shoot and the way most people shoot, you know, you're just using the meat of your tip of your finger here. You're not grabbing in deep like this and causing compression. It's supposed to be trigger's supposed to be right in the middle of that finger right there, and that just creates that natural gap. And if it wasn't for this goofy trigger arrangement and sear arrangement, you know, on this gun, you know, we wouldn't have to worry about it at all. But we do. So I think I'm going to be very limited in the rubber grips that I offer, because I'm getting some complaints. If somebody wants it, I'll supply it, but other than that, I'm probably going to be doing rigid grips from now on, and mostly around this basic geometry. So, and appreciate your feedback. Anybody has any comments or feedback, you know, I can't do this stuff by myself. A lot of my ideas are just lousy, and so I learn from the community. Happy to do what I can for you. And that's all I got for now. Enjoy.